Hello, hello, hello. I am Nisa. I am your identity expert here with Identity Speaks, and I wanted to make a quick video to talk about the three things that make up your identity. The three things that you have to become clear on that will tell you that I know who I am. The first of those are your principles. Those things that they're foundational, they're the things that are at your roots, they're the things that everything in your identity stands on. The second thing is your philosophy of life. I have my principles, and based on my principles, how do I view life in various aspects and in various situations? And the last thing that composes your identity is your expression of life. So, how do I reflect? How do I live that reflects what my principles are and what my philosophy of life is? When it comes to these three things, at the bottom, those principles are the things that remain static. These are the things that pretty much don't change. These are the things that you have pretty much basically had for the majority of your life. There's very little change found in your grounding principles. When it comes to your philosophy of life, that does have the ability to change and will change over your lifetime and as you mature. Things will start to look a different way. And so your ability to express how you react to those changes and what you believe about life as it relates to those changes can change somewhat. The principles are pretty well grounded and set. Your philosophy on life tends to change a little as you get older. Not a lot though. Not a lot. It changes a little. The last thing, your expression of life, how you function, how you move, how you reflect who you are. So how do you reflect those principles? How do you reflect the philosophy that you have of life? Those are going to be found in the expression of life that makes up your identity. So here at Identity Speaks, we have what is called the identity tree. And the identity tree aligns those three things with who you are, so it makes it very clear where these things sit in terms of determining your identity. The first one would be your principles. In the tree, in the identity tree, your principles will be at the root. They're the things that hold you steady. They're the things that go deep so that when things show up, when wind shows up, when the storms of life show up, you're blown, but you have the thing that roots you and it keeps you from being completely knocked over. So on the identity tree, the root is your principles. On the identity tree, the trunk is your philosophy of life. That is the thing that reflects how you take your principles and apply them to the thought processes about how you view life. This relates to the tree in that this is actually the main source of nutrition transport. It's the main source of transport of nutrition. So once you decide and you start making your philosophy of life the thing that you live by, the thing that you live with, and what you're committed to, it changes very little. However, it definitely should be a reflection of your rooting principles. And the last part of the identity tree is going to be your expression of life, which would be as the branches of a tree. So your expression of life is going to be how you reflect your principles, how you reflect your philosophy of life, and what that looks like. So if we consider a tree, the leaves are an expression of what type of tree it is. The leaves and the fruits are an expression of what type of tree you have. The leaves and the fruit are also an expression of how you've been providing nutrients throughout the tree, up and down. So down to the root and up to the leaves and the fruit. So when you have these three things understood, when you understand the identity tree, it makes it a lot easier to sit down and map out and really write out, where do I stand on these things? What are my rooting principles and where do I get them from? What is this thought process derived from? When it comes to the philosophy of life, you're able to sit down and look at your principles and say, based on what I believe to be true, the things that ground me, the things that root me, I look at life in this way and this way and this way. As an example, I'm a person of honesty. So one of my philosophies in life is that honesty is going to prevail in every situation that I have to speak in. I'm going to be honest. And that is because my principles don't allow me to be anything else without being false or counterfeit myself. And the last thing is going to be the branches, which are your expression of life. How does that reflect? What do you do that makes it clear what your principles are, what you're rooted in, and what your philosophy of life is? I'm going to post the picture of our identity tree so that you can see this in person yourself. And I would encourage everyone that as you look at it, take a moment and ask yourself, am I able to answer these questions? Do I understand what my principles are and where they come from? Do I know what my philosophy of life is? And does the expressions of my life reflect my principles and my philosophy of life? This has been 6 minutes, less than 7 minutes with Nisa from Identity Speaks. I am Nisa. I am your identity expert here at Identity Speaks. And I thank you for your time. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. You have a wonderful day.